Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is my pumptini-sized mini recap of Vanderpump Rules Season 10, Episode 18, The Reunion Part 3. This is it, you guys. This is the final part of the reunion for the most scandalous season in Vanderpump Rules history. This episode was a supersized hour and 15-ish minutes, but I'm gonna be doing something slightly different for this last one here because I watched the pumped up version on Peacock, which includes unseen footage, and I am going to include those scenes in my recap right now. I think the way I'm gonna do it, because here's what I did. I took my notes and watched the regular version yesterday, and today is the first day. I'm filming this on Thursday. This is the first day that Peacock is releasing that extended version. So what I did was I just went through the whole thing again, and where there were extra little scenes that were cut from the first version, I'm just going to talk about them as they come in on the timeline. And it's going to be a little bit tricky because I have some feelings about those extra scenes, and I'll figure out how to talk about it. But anyway, so all in all, this is just me saying I have absolutely no business calling this a mini recap, but this is the last one and I'm not going to stop now. So. All right, so the episode opens the way we ended part 2, where Raquel comes out onto the stage for the first time and Andy says hello to her. And he's like, "How are you doing?" And she goes, "I'm holding up okay. I'm super embarrassed and not proud of myself. I know I owe a lot of people in this room an apology." Andy would like to start with the girls' trip to Vegas and Lake Havasu. Already we have a scene that was cut from the original version. It's not much. It's just that Andy had asked Katie about how she didn't invite Scheana on the girls' trip because she was mad at her about her trying to fix Schwartz up with Raquel, but she invited Raquel. Like, how did that come about? And Katie said that she was just generally trying to forge a friendship with Raquel, and she basically felt like Raquel was being misled. She didn't say by who. I assume she means by Scheana. So she invited her on the trip to kind of give her a second chance. All right. So then we have what was on the regular version, which is Lisa Vanderpump getting to, throw in a shameless plug for Vanderpump à Paris. It's very successful, Andy. Andy then talks about how he thought there was like a real bonding moment there with the girls in the car on the way to Lake Havasu when Raquel had her little nervous breakdown. And really all the girls were kind of supporting her and rallying around her. And Raquel goes, "Yeah, but then at dinner they bashed me." And Lala goes, "We weren't bashing you. We were discussing the comment you made. And by the way, I stand by my comment that I wouldn't trust you anywhere around my man." "Hi," she's like pointing at Sandoval. So Andy said, "What did you mean when you said, 'Good thing you don't have a man to cheat on,' Raquel?" "I'm shocked at how drunk I was. And my personality did shift this summer. There was a change in me to not try to please everybody, and I was only pleasing myself, Ariana. And instead, you started fucking my man, Raquel. I've been super, super selfish, Ariana." Ariana. "Selfish does not fucking cover it, bitch. Diabolical, demented, disgusting, subhuman. Start getting a better vocabulary to describe it, because selfish isn't it." And Raquel goes, "I don't think I'm subhuman. I feel like my actions are human." Well, everyone's like, no. No, they set her straight on that. I don't think anyone could explain her actions this season. And I'm not talking about the cheating. I'm talking about everything she did before and after it. Now there's a shouting match basically between Lala and Sandoval. She basically tells him to shut the fuck up because he is about to defend Raquel, which honestly, Lala's doing you a favor, dude. By cutting you off, she's actually saving you from yourself. Now on Peacock, this little part of that exchange was cut from the original version. Lala says to Raquel, the way you were acting and saying the things you were saying while you were f***ing each other, it's demonic. Sandoval, Lala, we weren't f***ing first and foremost. And Lala goes, oh, were you making love? And Sandoval goes, no, it was one time. Lala goes, it doesn't matter if it was one time or 100 times. And James whispers to Lala, why does he keep saying one time? It's more than one time. Just, you guys keep that in mind. Because the first time I watched this, I thought it was because for whatever bizarre reason, Sandoval feels like the first time was a one-night stand and then there was a 2-week break. And then the affair started. I was thinking Sandoval, in his mind, considers that to be just a one-night stand. I was wrong. But we'll get to that later. So then Andy says to Raquel, watching you talk to Ariana about her intimacy issues with Tom, looking back on that, it seems diabolical. Lisa Vanderpump, I've never seen anything like it. And Andy goes, yeah, I've never seen anything like it before. Yet none of us have. So he says to Raquel, what was it like for you watching those scenes back? We see that clip of, are you still attracted to Tom? And Ariana saying, are you kidding? I think he's f***ing hot. And Raquel goes, oh my God, it was so hard to watch. Then we cut to another little piece of her one-on-one with Andy. Andy says, at this point, it seemed like you were fully sleeping with him, Raquel. At that point, we had slept together once, and he was very transparent about what was happening in their relationship. You think he was? Andy, did you encourage him to break up with Ariana? Raquel, I encouraged him to reflect and see if he was happy. Because as a friend, first and foremost, I just wanted him to be very happy. So on stage, talking about that conversation with Ariana, she said, I genuinely just was coming from a place of, do you want to be in this relationship? Because I was hearing, she gets cut off by Ariana. The answer was yes, and you had already f***ed him at that point, so shut the f*** up. F*** yourself with a f***ing cheese grater. F*** you f***ing suck. You're disgusting, and I wish the worst f***ing shit that could ever happen to a person on you. Sandoval, the thing is, we don't live our lives by logic. Everyone bursts out laughing, and Ariana's like, it's such a joke. Raquel, wait, no. Wait, James and Lala can't talk because they f***ed. Lala, I wasn't your best friend, ho. James, I was a boy. I was 25. Oh, God. Lala's like, I just met you and I hated you. It's not the same thing. This was your best friend. Sitting there talking to her about that when you were f***ing her boyfriend is sick. Again, Sandoval yells, it was one time. So James goes, let's be real. It was multiple times. Sandoval mocks him, multiple times. I'm James Kennedy. I know everything. And Ariana's like, yeah, great British accent. Yeah, dude, it's worse than mine. Andy, Lala, Raquel also said that you were Randall's mistress. And Lala's like, I am so sick of that because I am not a mistress. And if I was, it would be so much easier right now to say, well, hey, shit happens. But the truth is, I was lied to. I was given a ring. He said he was separated. We would travel together. He would FaceTime his children with me sitting right next to him on the couch. We were out in the open. Sandoval yells at her like, why could you never go to his house? And she's like, hindsight is 2020. And so anyway, he's yelling at her about saying that Randall wasn't separated. And Lala's like, I know that now, you dumb. He lied to me. Sandoval, well, you yelled at her for not doing her research. And Lala goes, I told her she's not a mistress. Oliver lied to her. Which is true. She did do that. That was at Lala's birthday party. Okay, now on Peacock, this is when we get into a further discussion about Oliver that was cut from the version that aired on Bravo. It's just more in-depth about whether Oliver was separated or not and why does Lisa back Oliver. And she just said, well, I don't know his ex, but I know him and he's been a responsible employee and I don't know, she adores Garcelle and she just feels like he had been doing the right thing. He was sending money home and he had his own apartment. Anyway, apparently Lala says that she has actually gotten close to Oliver's ex since all this happened and believes her, I guess. And then Sandoval wants to pin her down on when she started to know Oliver's ex because he's trying to push the narrative that Lala knew at least a week before Raquel did and that she kept it to herself because she just wanted to make Raquel look stupid. Lala, of course, says, I don't need to make Raquel look stupid. She does that all on her own. I never really got an answer as to the timeline of when Lala knew or not. Okay, so now after a bunch more yelling, Lisa's like, don't let it make you bitter, Lala. And she goes, I'm not bitter. Sandoval, okay, Lala. She's like, shut the fuck up, Sandoval, you moron. Sandoval goes, look at you. Look at you. Side note, we have been cutting to Scheana in her trailer several times now. And every single time she has been like watching intently, chowing down on sun chips. It's like she has a front row seat to the best show ever. And honestly, I almost feel like it's better. Like I was feeling bad for her that she was missing out on this reunion because of stupid Raquel's restraining order. But to sit there in your slippers and be able to eat and stuff, I feel like she is getting the better deal to not have to like sit upright on that one of those little stools. I don't know. And now Allie and Brock join her in the trailer. Okay, back from the break, we are pivoting the discussion to Schwartz and Raquel and how they made out in the pool in Mexico. Schwartz... I cannot believe how badly Schwartz came off in this entire reunion. Well, I guess you could say the entire season, but this reunion, his attempts at humor are so ill-timed and they go over like a lead balloon. Now he's like, oh, can I just ask a question real quick, Andy? Is that what I look like when I'm making out? Because, like, I always thought I was kind of sexy when I'm kissing. I picture myself like a Casanova type. I mean, I am a good kisser, but when I saw that, it turned my whole world upside down. Now, I promise you, he hoped to get a laugh from the other side of the room, but not the time, not the place, Schwartz. And not that funny. Katie's like, no. Now, the person that got the laugh was Katie. She goes, no. It looks like a father-daughter kiss. It was disgusting. A father-daughter kiss. Andy asks, do any of you think that Katie overreacted? And James, Lala, they're like, no. Andy, Katie had one rule. Don't hook up with someone in the friend group. Schwartz, what made you disregard that rule? Schwartz, again, trying to be funny. I don't know. Maybe I thought it was a technicality because they weren't friends at the time. No, just kidding. Yeah, and also they were at the time. Katie's disgusted. Andy is like, oh, dude, you need to cut this set short because the audience is not feeling it. Schwartz, honestly, I think we started kind of having a thing, like some chemistry. Yeah. And he's looking at Raquel. Ariana, no. And Schwartz goes, yeah, we did. Ariana, no, because she was already your best friend, so. And Schwartz goes, yeah, but I didn't know that. Ariana, yeah, but she did, and so did he. So again, he's like, did we or did we not have some chemistry? Raquel, I thought so. Oh, God. She doesn't know what to say, right? Because she doesn't want to piss off the one person in her corner, Sandoval, by saying, yeah, we had chemistry. But at the same time, Schwartz is the only other person speaking to her, so she didn't really want to piss him off either. Again, Ariana's like, no. Katie's like, she's a and you're a drunk. That's what happened. So Lisa Vanderpump asks Raquel, how could you be in that position after you slept with Sandoval? Raquel, because I put a cap on that thing with Sandoval. And Schwartz was someone that I was curious to make out with since the beginning. You mean when you first started on the show? Or like the whole time you were with James and engaged to James? And you're curious about kissing Schwartz? Okay, this next little segment is just from the Peacock version. We get into a little bit of a discussion about Terry, Katie's mom. Andy asks Raquel, when you heard Terry's comments, did it make you kind of reevaluate going after Schwartz? Raquel, it did. I kind of closed the door in Cancun, but now she's looking at Schwartz. You kind of insinuated that you wanted to make out. So? What are you saying? So then that means you have to? I don't know. Schwartz is like, yeah, I guess I was kind of the instigator there. Not really. I remember that episode. And you were definitely not pursuing her. She was being super flirty. She's the one that suggested you go somewhere more private. He might have leaned in for the kiss, but it was after a whole lot of setting up. James goes, I just think it's very incesty and dirty and weird, this whole side of the room. I mean, he's not wrong. That's a fair assessment. Okay, now we move on to the real soulmates on the stage, Lala and James. We get a flashback to like all their flirty times. The part of this segment that was only on Peacock was that Andy had asked James if Lala hadn't outed it. It seems like that was something you were willing to take to the grave. Were there any others that you were with while you were with Raquel? We get a montage of like all the accusations that through the years of James cheating, including with Logan, who said that when he was staying there, I think Logan was in love with James, but I'm not sure it was mutual. But like there was that girl who snapped a picture of her and James in bed together while James was asleep and didn't know she was taking a picture. So, which, you know, I don't know. That's the kind of nasty stuff that these guys used to do to each other all the time. And now I guess James's defense would be, I was just a little boy. Anyway, he denies that there was anything. We cut to the trailer and Allie's like, what is that? What are they talking about? And Scheana goes, oh, yeah, there were a lot of cheating rumors with James. But that was before you came along. That was like in early seasons. And she's like, okay. So anyway, on stage, Andy is asking Raquel, how did that make you feel, or did you feel like you noticed chemistry between Lala and James when you guys were together? And she goes, yeah, I mean, they were definitely flirty and stuff, but I just think that Lala resented me because she had all of James's attention until I came along, and then that attention wasn't on her anymore. Lala, my love, I think you need to be mentally evaluated because that's insane. And Raquel goes, I am being mentally evaluated. And Lala's like, okay, well, good. Lala is now asked about how she couldn't get over Raquel making out with Schwartz, yet she was expecting Raquel to get over the fact that she and James hooked up when he was with Raquel. And Lala said, well, yes, because when I told her, she was fine. She was completely over it. And then she only brought it up again when it served her purposes, when it was good for her narrative. Next, we move on to James tossing a drink on Schwartz when they were at Hermosa Beach. Schwartz says he wasn't upset about the drink so much. It was mostly the comments after that when he was like tearing his life apart. So James goes, okay, well, I don't apologize for the drink, but I'll apologize for the rant afterward. Then there's just a little scene that was only on the Peacock show where in the trailer, Allie is telling Scheana and Brock that she was on a plane the other day and she saw the Pizza Girl video, the Jonas Brothers song Pizza Girl. In the video, Scheana is the Pizza Girl. So Allie's like, I was like, oh my God. And Sheena's like, yeah, that was me. If you guys haven't seen it, just look it up on YouTube. It's cheesy enough to be worth the watch. Okay, next we talk about the rumor that Ariana and Tom had an open relationship, and that kind of started when Allie had spotted them dancing at the Abbey. James gets up and imitates Sandoval dancing, which it was kind of funny. In the trailer, Allie is telling Scheana, yeah, we walked in and see these two. It's 1 a.m. and it's just the two of them on the dance floor. But when I first saw them, I was like, oh, cool, where is everybody? Like, she's looking around for Ariana before she realized it was only those two. And Scheana goes, they made it sound like they were with all of you guys. And Allie's like, no. On the Peacock show only, Andy asked Sandoval about it, and his reply was, first, nothing was going on at the time. And second, we weren't alone. We were with James and his dad and Allie. And James is like, no, you weren't. We walked in and you guys were there. There's a little back and forth, like, we were at the table with you. And James goes, I got the table and invited you two over. But it's definitely not like we were there together. Also, that's so weird. Like, in what universe does James and Allie and then James's dad go out together with just Raquel, his ex-fiance, and Sandoval? So dumb to imply that you guys all went out together. So then Andy said, James, do you think that Sandoval started the open relationship rumor himself so that people wouldn't suspect he was cheating? And before he can answer, Ariana says, I think so, based on what Raquel told somebody after Coachella. And Raquel goes, no, I... Cut to the trailer. Scheana, bullshit. Is she going to lie right now? So then Ariana says she told this person that Tom made a comment to her about being in an open relationship. And Raquel's response was, well, I told him I would rather be in a relationship with Ariana than you. Tom, I never, ever said that. I never said we were in an open relationship. So then Schwartz, I don't know who he thought he was helping here, says, I think I know the origin story to the open relationship rumor. There was a rumor that you guys hooked up with Billy Lee in like a threesome. And Ariana goes, Tom and I never had a threesome in our entire relationship. Andy, okay, well, that brings us back to what has been the biggest story of the year. Tom and Raquel's months-long affair. Raquel, where have you been staying since the news got out? Raquel says that she stayed with her sister for a few days and then she drove to Tucson and has been staying there with her parents ever since. Until yesterday, she flew back to LA for the reunion. Andy, Sandoval, have you and Raquel been hanging out in the last few weeks? Sandoval, yeah, we've hung out. Then we learned that Raquel was going to skip the reunion because she's so ashamed and embarrassed that she's been keeping a secret from somebody who has been in her corner since day one. You guys, I honestly think that she is more upset about the lying and all the secrecy than the fact that she had sex with Ariana's boyfriend. Raquel goes, Ariana, I am so sorry for betraying you. I can't even fathom the pain that I've caused you. I have been completely selfish, and you're right. Selfish isn't the right word because it doesn't begin to describe the state of mind I've been in. Anyway, she goes on to say that it was just a big mistake. They betrayed the people that they were closest to. The way they handled it, she realizes now how horrible that was, and that she just now sees all the consequences of her actions that she never even thought of before because she was living in the moment. Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? How she goes from being a people pleaser, which admittedly, not good. Nobody should be a people pleaser, and people need to have their own needs met and should value themselves. But to go from that to, I don't know, I'm just going to burn the place down and leave carnage behind in my wake? I don't get that. I don't understand how the brain goes from one to the other. It doesn't feel like a natural progression. Just because you don't want to be a people pleaser doesn't mean you totally shut off any kind of care and concern for your friends. Anyway, Andy just said, why did you do it? Raquel, I did it because Tom and I had this connection. And then, it's weird because she uses all the same sound bites. This is why I feel like it seems like she's been coached, or at the very least, she's highly rehearsed in what she's going to say. It's sound bites that she's memorizing. And one of them is, I was selfish. And the other one is, I felt seen and heard. That's exactly how she put it to Andy in their one-on-one. She's saying it again now. Another reason why this whole thing started is because she felt seen and heard by Tom. The difference is now she's saying it out loud in front of Ariana, who immediately says, and you didn't by me? Good question. She's like, I've been there for you since James was being mean to you. And Raquel, I don't know if she feels like she has to say this to justify having an affair with Tom, but I don't know. This just struck me as being really horrible. She said, well, if I'm being really honest, I never confided in Ariana about personal things. I felt more compelled to confide in Tom. I just feel like it's let's push the narrative that Ariana and I weren't that close. And that's ugly. Anyway, Ariana just says, well, that's inappropriate. You crossed a line. Like to be confiding more in my boyfriend than me. Then Raquel goes, I've been a people pleaser my whole life. Oh my God. Oh, do we have to start the speech over again? We heard this one multiple times. Multiple times. This is the speech she gave when she first sat down. Because it ends with, and now I have been only pleasing myself. I don't think she's feeling these emotions, you guys. I think she's rehearsing lines that somebody who does feel emotions told her this is what you need to say. Anyway, she now says, this was something I was curious to see. Ariana cuts her off. My dog had just died. I cried in your f***ing arms and you thought I should go f*** her boyfriend. You are the worst of the worst. You are disgusting. You are a psychopath. You are terrifying to me as a person. Yeah. The fact that you are capable of this shit, unbelievable. You're a dementor. I know you like Harry Potter. Oh no. And then she says, one of the best lines of the night, I hope Charlotte haunts you. Katie can barely keep it together. Just the picture of Charlotte, this adorable little fluff ball of a dog, haunting somebody is hilarious to me. Raquel just says, you're completely right. And Andy goes, why couldn't you stop? Raquel, it was almost impossible to turn away from. Andy, you were in love? Long pause. And then she says, yeah. Ariana, you're ugly. You're hideous. You're rotten inside. Raquel just says, I know. Andy, are you still in love? And she gives just a barely perceptible nod. Andy, Tom, are you in love? Now there's an even longer pause. And Lala goes, it's a simple question. Are you in love or are you not? Sandoval, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes. And Ariana goes, Grody. Honestly, that's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. And Lala goes, listen, it's a gift that they gave you. Not only did it get you out of a torture chamber of a relationship, I can't imagine being with you, Sandoval. I mean, put a bullet to my brain. But it eliminated two horrendous people from your life. So Ariana's like, you're nothing. Let that sink in. Time out. This is where I have to admit that I started having this feeling, and, don't come for me. I think it's generational, honestly, because I'm older. But I started to have this feeling like, oh, Ariana, do not come so hard at her, because you are allowing people to create a sympathetic feeling toward her and Sandoval. The more you keep coming at her, because listen, verbally, this is a massacre. Ariana is just pummeling her with, her sharp tongue and her words, and it's just no contest. And so it starts to feel like bully victim, with Raquel being the victim. And so in my brain, immediately I'm like, oh, back off. Or I wish she was would tear up more or whatever. I wanted this visual of these monsters coming after our beloved queen, Ariana. And that's not what's happening here. But I will say that I have come around to what I think is the right way of looking at this. And that is, they did something heinous. Ariana has been wronged, and she has a right to feel every ounce of her anger. She's got a right to use it. She's got a right to express it. She's still in the right. She's coming at her hard, even though she's apologizing. That's another thing. I'm not great with when somebody apologizes in a sincere way. I'm not great with the person still attacking them after they apologized. I don't feel like this was necessarily sincere on Raquel's part. I do feel like Raquel is feeling remorse, but I'm not sure it's just not because her life is falling apart. I'm not sure that if they got away with it or if Ariana didn't have much of a reaction, that she wouldn't just be giggling all the way over to Sandoval's bed. I'm not the judge of whether or not there is some sort of mental illness at play here and that this is, an unfair fight because of that. I don't know. I don't know that. And I'm not even going to speculate on that. But I just want to say that Ariana has been angry, expressing her anger, very, very vocal about it. And I have rethought how I think about that. Anyway, moving on. Lala tells Raquel that, and you're not going to have him in your life much longer either, because he'll cheat on you soon enough. So at that, Raquel gets up and walks off the stage. And he's like, come back, come back. They taunt her as she goes, mostly James and Ariana. Bye-bye. And Ariana's like, go ahead. Nobody wants you here. You can leave. Don't come back. Again, it's brutal. And it's a little tough to watch, but I honestly don't know if Raquel meant any of the words she said. She said the right words. I just don't know if there's anything behind those eyes in terms of understanding what the words were that she said. All right, so apparently she just needed to get some water, and she does come back to the stage. Now we have another little scene that was only in the Peacock version. We talk about Raquel calling Lala a mistress at the pool party at Tom and Ariana's house. Andy asks her, after sleeping with Sandoval, how is that not hypocritical of you? There's a pause. Then Sandoval says, isn't a mistress, like at that point in time, something that's more ongoing? Yeah. Still pushing the narrative that it only happened one time. And now, nothing was happening at this point. It was like the one night stand was over. Ariana said, is this a joke, Tom? Lisa's like citing common law wife and husband. I don't know. So now Andy gets into how after beach day, they went back to Sandoval's house, Tom and Raquel, and got in the jacuzzi. Andy's like, Sandoval, you lied about Raquel spending the night that night. Then we see the flashbacks. Andy, did you have sex with Raquel that night? Sandoval, absolutely not. Andy, Schwartz, you co-signed on the lie. And Schwartz is like, yeah, I did. In retrospect, maybe that was like a kind of up thing to do. Just stop, Schwartz. Andy, Sandoval, have you ever hooked up with Raquel in your home? Sandoval, no. Katie, we're supposed to believe you? So now Andy talks about how everyone has rallied around Ariana after the news of the affair broke. Sandoval, do you think that their support was authentic or just for the likes? Tom, I appreciate everyone being there for Ariana. She deserves it. But it was heartbreaking to have mutual friends not even text me and just go to social media with funny memes. And Ariana goes, what did you think was going to happen? Side note, not this. I don't know that any of them could have predicted the real outcome of this and how big it got and how it blew up and it was everywhere. And they, did a report on CNN on it. And I don't think he thought that. I'm positive he did not think this would happen. I don't think he or Raquel ever expected this level of backlash. Schwartz, again with nonsense, said, Andy, can we talk about the juxtaposition? Like, in one of the worst moments of your life, like you're publicly humiliated in the worst way. And Ariana goes, I'm not humiliated. They're humiliated. They didn't humiliate me. And he goes, okay, you're right. But at one of the worst moments of your life, the f***ing nation is rallying around you. It's just an interesting juxtaposition. Like, how does that make you feel? James is like, oh, cool, Schwartz, cool. Anyway, Ariana says, to answer the question, it's like, and she starts to break down. It's what's kept me going. I didn't eat for a week and a half. I lost 8 pounds. I had friends stay with me 24/7 because I felt like I needed to be babysat. Andy hands her a tissue and she's blotting her eyes and she's like, I can't think of 2 worse people. I just can't. Then Sandoval forces out a couple tears of his own. Andy's like, Raquel and Tom, the news of your affair lit up the internet. Let's clear up some of the rumors that are surrounding it. Tom, you dressed up as Raquel for Halloween. Ariana's like, yeah, and I helped him. Lisa, wait a minute. You dressed as Raquel after you slept with her? Ariana's like, yep. It's so demented. Lisa, it's bizarre. Why would you do that? James, because he's a creep. Sandoval's like, it was just a thing online. So Katie goes, and it was also a dick move to mock me because I was saying that she was a fangirl because she wore all the Tom Tom merch. Andy says to Raquel, we saw you buy the lightning bolt necklace. Does it have the meaning that we all think it does? Raquel, yeah. It was significant to who he had become in my life. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. Lisa goes, I don't understand you because it was on camera. It's so provocative. Just like the conversation with Ariana. It was almost like you were living sort of a weird charade. Like in your mind, you were in a pageant acting out a part. James goes, she's not going to win this pageant either, Lisa. She doesn't win those. She doesn't win those. Lisa cannot get past that scene at Tom Tom during what was supposed to be the finale when she had that conversation with Ariana. Again, most of us can't get past it, but Lisa's just like, how did you feel when you were looking in her eyes? This person who loved you and defended you. And Raquel's like, I feel like a piece of shit. And Ariana goes, no, you feel nothing. That might be closer to the truth. Lisa's just like, that's the most astounding piece of film I have ever seen. It was a crazy scene. And I'm so happy that they're like talking about it as much as they are. Sandoval goes, yeah, I think that neither one of us have really had time to really process this. What are you talking about? You two have had more time to process this than anybody else. You've known about it the longest. He's like, we made a mistake. We tried to rectify it and pretend it never happened. We never wanted to hurt anybody. Okay, I mean, I believe that they didn't want to hurt anyone. I mean, Sandoval said in part 1 maybe that it wasn't with malicious intent, and I do believe that. It's just you weren't trying not to hurt anybody either. That's the problem. There was no effort made either way. Andy asks Ariana, what happened to your eggs? And she said, they're still frozen, but not fertilized. She's like, I dodged a bullet there. I would never want his DNA mixed with mine. Andy asks Tom Sandoval if he had slept with anyone else since Raquel. He says no. Ariana says, what about that girl in Chicago? And right away, Lala is like, what about that girl after, see you next Tuesday, after your show? And he's like, where are you two getting your information from? So Ariana drops it and she goes, okay, well, I do know one girl he slept with after Raquel. Me. And now Sandoval says the one line that he will regret for years beyond his death. Yeah, and she kept her t-shirt on. It was really hot. Oh my God, Sandoval. Do not enough people hate you? Is that it? You want more people to hate you? Because I'm not sure that's even possible. Everyone reacts to that. Like everyone. James is like, you're disgusting. Lala, you're such a dick, Sandoval. Even Schwartz puts his head down. He's like, don't say that, dude. Backstage, Scheana's like, urgh. I want to throw this at the TV, but I won't. She's got like a white claw in her hand. Now Andy talks about how people are calling Raquel Rachel. And he said, that's your given name, right? And she said yes, and he asked her when she started using the name Raquel. I was in first grade, and there were 2 other Rachels in my class. Ariana, and you wanted to feel special. Raquel, yeah, I did. Ariana, but she's not. You're not. So then Raquel said, my family calls me Rachel still, but my friends call me Raquel. Ariana, but you don't have any friends anymore, so Rachel it is. She's brutal, you guys. Raquel, anytime someone calls you anything other than the name that you prefer is disrespectful. Lala would know. And Lala goes, no, I wouldn't, you moron. It's a nickname. I didn't change my name. And Raquel goes, Raquel is a nickname. Andy moves on. Did your family know about the affair? Sandoval said, I told my mom. She was extremely surprised. She was just like, this is not good. Andy asks him if his family has ever met Raquel. And he said yes, when they were in LA for the opening of Schwartz and Sandy's, or one of those many parties before the opening. I don't know. And Andy said, did you take her to St. Louis for Christmas? And he said, no. Let's just file that away for now. So now Andy is just asking, how did it go from a one-night stand to a full-blown relationship? Sandoval says he just let his emotions get the best of him. He's asked when it started. He guesses that it was January. And Schwartz helpfully adds, yeah, January's when you told me too. So yeah, that tracks. That's when you said the LOVE word, LOVE word. So yeah. Andy asks Raquel, where does she think that she and Sandoval will be a year from now? And she says, I don't know. It's just too soon. James, in a poop house, in a stinky poop house. Poo-poo head. Both of you, the 2 of you, poo-poo heads. Andy, Tom, same question. Tom's like, we're both in vulnerable situations right now. And those feelings that we have, it's hard to know if they're real or not. And I think it's best if we take some time to reflect. Okay, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but taking time to reflect is exactly the verbiage that Raquel used in her one-on-one with Andy when she said, I just wanted Tom to reflect on his relationship and what would make him happy. Sorry. Somebody coached somebody here, and I don't think it was Raquel coaching Tom. That's just a guess. So Lisa Vanderpump said, well, that can't be very good for Raquel. Now you're like, oh, we'll just have to wait and see if it was real or not. And Raquel goes, no, we're just trying to figure out if it was just something exciting and superficial, or if there was something deeper happening. Lisa goes, well, if that was superficial, it came at great expense. Yeah, you idiot. Raquel goes, I admit that. I'm sorry, Ariana. Ariana, I don't accept. And I don't believe you for 1 second. So before we say goodbye to Raquel so that Scheana can come back on stage for the ending, Andy has one more question for her. Do you think there's a possibility of mending fences with anyone that you hurt? Raquel, not now, no. Ariana, forever, no. And Katie goes, well, it's not really up to her. Raquel, that's very true. It's not up to me. Okay, so she leaves. We take 5 now before Scheana comes, back from her trailer. Backstage, Tom is with Raquel and tells her she did a great job. You did better than me. Well, yeah, that was a low bar because you made that comment about Ariana and her t-shirt. So she couldn't have done much worse. Raquel kind of starts to cry for the first time when she says it's hard to look at it all laid out like that, everything that we've done, and then you can see how much you've hurt people. As Raquel is getting changed out of her dress, side note, did you see that the tags are still on that dress? It's like a skirt and top, but is that going to be returned now after you sat there with your flop sweat on stage? Ew. Anyway, the thing that she remembers is that James said that Allie wasn't just a replacement. He talked about how Raquel said, you're just replacing me with Allie. He said it's not a replacement when it's an upgrade. So she says to Sandoval, I guess she is at this point. And they both have a little laugh over that. Nice to see that they can still chuckle. Those two crazy kids. So then the producer comes and tells her that she needs to get out of the building before Scheana can come back in the building. On the stage, while waiting for the others to join them, Lala says to Ariana, can I ask you a question? If Sandoval had come to you, because I think there was an emotional affair going on long before anything physical was happening. If Sandoval were to come to you and say, I think I'm starting to have feelings for Raquel, what would you have said? And Ariana goes, there would be only two choices. We break up or he never sees her again. But either way, she's like, it still would not have been great. Okay, now this is the most significant, in my mind anyway, this is the most significant difference between the Bravo show that we all saw and the extra footage that we're seeing on the Peacock version. Before they come back out on stage, Lisa goes to talk to Tom Sandoval in one of the dressing rooms. She says to him, I know you're upset, but I haven't really seen you express that at all today. Maybe if you just had one moment where you showed your emotions and say something like, I still love all of you and I'm truly sorry. Maybe that would help. We've seen you angry and dejected, but if there's a way forward, you have to open that door. I'm sure they'll say, fuck you, no, not interested, but maybe just at least try. That is significant, and that is not something I knew when I wrote my notes the day before. Another little part of that is before Scheana comes onto the stage, and while they're still waiting on Sandoval and Lisa, Ariana asks her, did you watch from backstage? And she goes, oh, I saw the whole thing. Ariana, thoughts? Scheana, well, you are a fucking queen. She goes, I don't know how much you're going to see of me in the trailer, but I was back there yelling. Okay, so now everyone is back and we are starting again. And Andy asks Scheana what her opinion was of the segment that she was watching from backstage, specifically about Raquel. And she said, well, she's a sociopath. There was not one tear. I cried twice back there. Then we get final thoughts. We start with Scheana. Andy asks her, she and Brock having more babies? And she said, not anytime soon. James, what's going on with you? He said he'll probably be asked to do Imagine Fest again. They're probably going to book him because it went so well last time and he's just, keeping going with the DJing thing. Andy asks Schwartz if he's ever going to get married again. Schwartz said, there's a 5% chance. Yeah, I don't really see that happening. I'll fall in love many times and I'll have a great life, but I just don't see getting married again. Katie, what about you? Andy asks. And she said, I don't know about marriage, but I'm not going to have a wedding again. That's for sure. That was like a one-time only deal. She says she doesn't have like a dying wish to become a mother, more so just like to become a family. So she's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just be like a cool aunt who always has a hot guy with her and travels the world. Andy, Sandoval, I was curious, how do you move forward with this group? But I don't know that there's an answer to that. Sandoval, I understand what I did was very, very fucked up. And then he bursts into tears. Just floodgates opened. I'm human. I make mistakes. I hurt someone I never loved more in my life. Ariana, I know that you hate me, and it's okay. But I just want you to know I will always love you and I will always be cheering you on from afar. Always. Well, guys, yesterday I thought, because his face was just, the tears were streaming down his face, and I fell for it until I saw the scene from 5 minutes earlier where Lisa coached him. Yeah. Well, he takes notes well, I'll say that. And also, apparently, can cry on cue. So, I don't know if that's on his acting resume, but maybe. To me, that should be the shocking revelation. Also, side note, there's no real shocking revelation that we were all waiting for, but if there was, that was probably the most shocking thing of the night for me. To know that he was able to put that on just minutes after Lisa told him he should. Anyway, Andy moves on to Ariana. Final thoughts? She said, I'm just really grateful for Scheana, Lala, James, Katie, Lisa, and you, Andy, for being there for me today and the last 3 weeks and always. And I will not forgive him, and I will not be cheering him on from afar. So Andy just turns to Lisa and says, after 10 seasons of, drama and emotions, there's never been anything like this before. Where do we go from here? And Lisa's like, oh, it's much too much to process right now, but I hope that some of us can find some compassion and forgiveness. And then they stand for a group photo, and we see everybody now changing, getting in their cars, and driving away. Then the screen goes black, and these words appear. 6 days later, Raquel sat down for her final interview of the season. Producer, you seem like you're in a lot of pain. Why is that, Raquel? It's important for me to tell the truth. I've been lying and deceitful for so long now. The entire time. I don't want to lie anymore. It's all out there anyway. The worst of it is out, but I'm finding myself still having to lie about specific timeline things. Then we flash back to Sandoval yelling, Lala, it was only one time. And James whispering, why does he keep saying one time? It was more than one time. And the producer said, well, you still maintained some lies during the reunion. Raquel nods. And the producer said, Why did you do that? He feels like it would be hurtful to say this was going on for so long. Producer, at what point was it a regular thing? While we were still filming? Raquel, the second time was during Mexico. The second time. She tells us he was drunk and trying to find his room, and she could hear it outside her room. She could hear him talking to someone that worked there, and they were trying to help him find his room. And she just opened her door and said, come in here. It's okay, sir. I'll take care of it. And it happened then. I don't know that he spent the whole night with her, but probably not. So the producer asked, did you have sex multiple times in Mexico? Yeah. Producer, so it was like a regular ongoing thing with you two since Mexico. Raquel, yeah. I don't remember how often, but it definitely picked up speed after we wrapped filming. Now she's asked, did you spend time with his family? She says, I met his mom when she was in LA. Producer, so not in St. Louis? No. You've never been to St. Louis? Not that I recall, she says. And then we see a picture of them together in St. Louis, December 2022. So, Christmas, maybe? When Andy asked him, did you bring her to St. Louis for Christmas? And he denied it. That was another lie. And now she's denying that she doesn't even recall ever being in St. Louis. And the producer says to her, you're saying everything with your face. I can read you, so you might as well tell the truth. And she's like, it happened. A huge part of me wanted to tell her. It ate me alive. I even suggested, what would Ariana think if you had me as an addition? Producer, like a throuple? Yeah, like a throuple. Raquel, yeah, because I loved Ariana as a person and I love Tom. And so it didn't seem that far-fetched of an idea. Yeah, well, it did to Tom. He's like, yeah, no, Ariana would not want to do that. Now she's like, oh, he's going to kill me. But I just hate lying. So the producer asks her what happened the night of the jacuzzi. Did you guys hook up that night? No. Producer, are you lying? No. Producer, you look different. Raquel, he asked me to not disclose all this information, especially now being so isolated. Tom is like the only one person I do have. And if I betray him, I really have no one. Okay, so this isn't about feeling guilt for what she's done. This really has nothing to do with Ariana at all. Like this whole I hate lying and all that. It's not because she's holding all this guilt. She's either A, afraid of Tom, or what seems even more likely is that she doesn't even care about Tom. It's her. She doesn't have anybody but Tom right now. She doesn't want to lose the one person who doesn't hate her. I don't know. I think it might just be about her. So the producer's like, well, you already came clean about the other stuff. So what's one more detail? She's crying. She says, it's the one story we agreed on getting straight. And I know the reason Tom wanted to lie. It's because it's a really bad look to hook up with someone's boyfriend in their own house when they're out of town, especially when it's for a funeral. And she's like sobbing, and then I can't remember if this was in the regular Bravo version or if this was just in the Peacock version. Either way, it kind of ends in the middle of a sentence. It's strange. There isn't really that there's anything much more said other than her still crying and saying things like, it kills my soul. I'm so sick of lying. I hate this. Horrible. And it ends just like that, in the middle of her going, screen goes to black. We hear a little bit more of like, little, I don't know if it's crying or sighing, whatever. And that's it. Mid-sentence. Yeah. Final thoughts are, there was no big revelation other than it was just one of the things everybody kind of talked about, speculated about, it being an issue, a difference like with the timeline. So yes, clearly it started long before Sandoval said, and for you guys, for as many times as he had to yell over somebody, it was just one time. He did that at least 3 times realistically, if not more. That was a lie. That was a lie. It wasn't just one time. There is no way you can ever call it a one-night stand when the second time you did it was, days later. So, yeah, it appears as though the whole thing just started maybe in August after guys' night at the Mondrian. So that's one thing. The other thing is it doesn't this is why I think Ariana in the podcast and somebody else said that they don't think it was anything that would hold up contract negotiations. Some of you speculated about it being about Lisa Vanderpump and her knowing about it and stuff. I never thought that, but that scene with her and Sandoval, woo, the way she was coaching him, that to me was a smoking gun. More so than finding out that they hooked up the weekend that she was at her grandmother's funeral. Because I think we all figured that. You're already having sex with her. You got the house to yourself. That seemed logical. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's it. The only thing about it ending on a mid-sentence thing, which I think is weird, is either it was just some sort of, stylistic editing, or possibly there's more to come. Next week they're having never before seen footage for the whole season. They could maybe add something there. I don't know, but anyway, it was just an exhausting season. I'm glad I recapped it. I'm so glad you guys were here. It was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of work, but it was fun to cover it. And yeah, all I can say is let's put it in the comments now, you guys. What are your final thoughts about this season? I would love to hear from you. Where do you see Tom and Raquel a year from now? Where do you see Ariana a year from now? I'm curious about that too. And as always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And I am taking a break. I'm not sure when I'll be back, but if you click on the bell icon, you will be notified every time I post something new. So you'll be the first to know when I'm back. All right. Thank you so much for being here. This was fun. Till next time. Bye.